Hello there and welcome to my video comparing the Master Replicas lightsabers for Obi-Wan Kenobi from the Phantom Menace and Attack of the Clones. So in the foreground here you've got the Elite Edition from Episode 1, the Phantom Menace, and then in the background you've got the Limited Edition from Attack of the Clones. Now before I go into the differences between the two, I'll just talk about how I picked them both up. So they're both quite recent purchases within the last year. The first of which I managed to get the limited edition. I did already have a version of the limited edition, but it was just the lightsaber and the box. There was no display case. There was no plaque, none of the paperwork, anything like that. And when I saw the opportunity to pick one up that had all of those things, I took it. I managed to get it for, at the time, what I thought was a good price. And to be fair, since then, I've not seen any go for cheaper than that, but I've come to learn that it is one of the more cheap of the Master Replica lightsabers. Not one of the most sought after, even though it's always been one of my favorites, if not my favorite lightsaber. And then I picked this one up this week. Well, I won it on an eBay offer last week, and it got to me this week, and I was absolutely buzzing about it because as soon as I basically discovered that there was this Elite Edition from the Phantom Menace, and I saw the differences between the two, which I'll go into, I've wanted it for ages. So I wanted them both. I wanted a version of it for a long time. But yeah, the Elite Edition I was really keen to get, and I'll explain why now. So when this one arrived to me, it was in basically perfect condition. There's really no real imperfections, nothing notable anyway. Whereas on this one, it was hard to tell in the pictures on the eBay listing. So I kind of took a bit of a gamble on it because I saw the price and I thought I just have to get this one because I don't know when I'm going to get another opportunity to pick one up. And it was all the way from Japan as well, so I had to pay a bit of a chunk of extra money on import fees. So that hurt, but when I had it in hand, it was completely worthwhile because this one just feels and looks incredible. Although as you look at them now, the Attack of the Clones version looks a lot shinier because it has a chromed finish, whereas this one is stainless steel, so it's not quite got that pop and shine. But the actual canonically it wasn't as shiny, and the props that we used in Attack of the Clones, they used a chrome finish lightsaber, whereas in the Phantom Menace it was more of a brushed finish. So the differences between the two are correct, even if you might find this one more aesthetically pleasing. It just depends what you like. Some might prefer the more brushed finish. In person they both are very shiny though. Now one of the main differences between them aesthetically is that the Attack of the Clones version doesn't have any holes in the silver parts of the pommel. So what I'm going to do, and this is going to upset some people because I'm not wearing any gloves, is I am going to pick it up and I'm going to show you the pommel. Okay. So what we can see here is, there we go. And when I say there's no imperfections, all of the chrome lightsabers, that can actually just be polished out because that just looks like some smudge marks from where I've handled it. But for the most part, chrome will have some slight imperfections on it, just due to the nature of how chrome is. So no holes in these cubes on the pommel, whereas on the Phantom Menace version there is holes in the pommel, which I will show you now. I'm being really careful because These are obviously highly collectible, and I do like to look after my lightsabers the best that I possibly can. So as you can see there, holes in the pommel cube, like so. Okay, and there you can see the Elite Edition on the bottom of the pommel there. Okay. Now, one of the other main differences is the finish on the red button and the gold button. Okay, so you can kind of tell, even from this angle, that the finish on this red button is much more, it looks more metallic almost. It looks like a more metallic finish. The red button is knurled on both of them, whereas the gold button is only knurled on this version, the Elite Edition, whereas on the Attack of the Clones it has a smooth finish. Also on this version there is a gem inside the gold button, whereas on the Attack of the Clones there is kind of more like a golden ball bearing that matches the colour of the gold button on that one. Now, this is one of my favourite things about the Elite Edition, the way that the gold button pops. If I can get it in focus, it just looks so good on this version. So that is real gold plating on the button there, and it just takes the whole lightsaber to a whole other level. You can kind of see from this close up as well the more brushed finish on this with the stainless steel. So it is still really shiny, but it doesn't quite have that same shine that the chrome Attack of the Clones version does. But it also does mean that scratches on this aren't quite as obvious. Beautiful. Yeah. Okay, and then if I now pop that one back, and I will show you the differences between that and the Attack of the Clones version. Again, apologies about handling these with my bare hands. I know that's lots of collectors will not enjoy that at all. They'll wear gloves normally, but I'll be honest, I like to handle my lightsabers. I know they're really collectible, and you want to keep them in the best condition possible, but also the feeling of it in your actual hands is really quite something. So there you go. You know, the gold on this is just nowhere near as impressive. Let's be fair. It's much more impressive on the Elite Edition. And then the red button, like I say, it's less of a metallic finish and more of a sort of a bold, flat red. I don't even know how to explain it, but the red button on the other version I just much prefer. Okay. The other thing is you'll see these sort of lumps. I don't know what you'd call them on this one. They are just chromed all the way, whereas on the Phantom Menace version they have actual gems or crystals inside of where the flat part would be. Sorry, the flat part here. Okay, again I'll show you that in just a moment. There are further differences with the top of the lightsaber, the emitter. This one has the golden circle in the very center, whereas on the Phantom Menace it's slightly different. There's like a silver circle that's bigger and not filled in the way that this gold circle is. Okay, so let's pop that one back. And then the emitter on this one, as you can see, slightly different there. I like both of the emitters, to be honest. I think they both look really clean. And then here are the sort of windows. Now, like I say, when I bought this, it was a bit of a gamble because I didn't really know what kind of condition it was going to turn up in. So for the most part, I was really happy. It's in person, it just looks so good. I know the camera is going to kind of pick up every single imperfection, but that's fine. But as you can see, the sort of gem inside the hole there, the white gem, is slightly discolored on this one. So it looks slightly yellowed. And whether that's because it could be that one was in the sunlight. See, that one's like crystal clear white. And then that one is yellowed. You can really see that difference, the purity of that color. And then the contamination from the sun in that one is really obvious. But that and only one thing are the minor issues. So in this one, you'll see it's got a rubber O-ring that separates the emitter section, the upper part of the lightsaber, from the main body. And you'll see that rubber ring has degraded and has started to crack. Absolutely nothing that can be done about that. That will obviously continue to degrade over time, but that's fine because you know, I don't know what's going to be underneath there, whether it's just going to be a hole or the Attack of the Clones one is slightly different. But yeah, I imagine that will just fall apart and fall off one day, but the rest of it should stay really strong and sturdy and hold up against the test of time. Now let me show you again the difference between that and the same section on the Attack of the Clones version. So where that rubber O-ring was, there is just, again, that chrome, I don't know how to describe it, that kind of fills in that gap. But there's no rubber on this one at all. Okay. And you can see that gold button. See, that's one thing that I much prefer the Phantom Menace version 4 is just the gold button. It almost looks yellowish and mustard coloured on this one. It's not quite as severe as it looks on the camera in real life. It doesn't look quite that obvious. It does look more golden and metallic, but it still slightly bugs me. You know, it would have been nice if they'd have gold plated that on this version as well. But again, this is a limited edition version, and this one is the Elite Edition, so was much more expensive when they were originally sold, and much more expensive on the second-hand market as well. Okay, so if we put them side by side, again, you can see the differences in the emitter there. And you can really see the Attack of the Clones on the left, the way that chrome just pops. Again, the camera's going to really expose the difference in the finish, and all the scratches are going to show up as well. Okay, so just trying to get them close to each other without smashing them into each other. See if I can really show the difference between the gold buttons here. There you go. So just the way that looks on the Phantom Menace version. Again, you can see the chrome and all the micro scratches on the left compared to the brushed finish of the Phantom Menace on the right. And again, you can see the gems at the very top of the screen on the Phantom Menace version, so the white crystal. And then on the left, it's just fully chromed off. Okay. And then let's have a look at the red buttons compared side by side. As I said, the kind of more metallic finish on the Phantom Menace version I just much prefer. Again, hard to tell on camera, but in person it's very, very obvious. Now, other than that, the Phantom Menace version seems to be thinner than the Attack of the Clones, sorry. it seems to be a lot thinner in your hand. They're both really, really skinny hilts. They're both really skinny, but the Phantom Menace just seems to be skinnier. And you can kind of tell from that angle, as if this silver back section comes further round on the Attack of the Clones. It's hard to tell whether it's thinner. It looks like it is thinner on the Phantom Menace version. That piece of metal on the back is skinnier, whereas on the Attack of the Clones it seems to be wider, which is an interesting observation. Again, there's the pommels, the holes versus the solid cubes, and then one that says Elite Edition, that's on the right there. And then on the left, I don't know if it says Limited Edition on this one. It does not. Okay. Let's put these back. Like I say, I know I've handled these with my bare hands today, but I am a real collector and I absolutely look after my, particularly my Master Replica hilts in my collection, and I will make sure I give them a gentle polish, just with a microfiber cloth to get rid of those smudges as best as I can. And that's one advantage of the stainless steel. You can kind of just polish that endlessly, and it wouldn't really sort of have any lasting effect on the metal, because stainless steel is much more durable in that sense than chrome. Whereas chrome, once there's a scratch in the chrome, that scratch is there forever. You are not going to get rid of that scratch. Okay, so that's another advantage to the Elite Edition. Okay, now one thing I did forget to go through is the weight. And honestly, the Attack of the Clones feels heavier. It definitely feels heavier. I know on the Attack of the Clones there is a metal rod that goes through the center of it. So I'd imagine if that was taken out and you just had, you know, the actual body and not the inside rod, it would probably not be super heavy. Whereas because of the stainless steel build that this has, I imagine even without that metal rod in the middle, that's still going to have some serious weight behind it. So that still feels a really good weight in your hands, but it doesn't quite feel as heavy as the limited edition version. Okay, so like I say, with the limited edition, I was able to get it with the display stand, the sort of case that it comes in, the paperwork, basically everything that it would have come with originally when sent from Master Replicas. Whereas with this Phantom Menace version, I was just able to get the hilt, literally nothing else. No, not even the box that it comes in. No display stand, no plaque, no paperwork, nothing. But on a stroke of luck was that literally at the same time that this came on auction from Japan, there was someone in the UK, which is where I live, that put up a auction for the certificate of authenticity for the Elite Edition of the Phantom Menace, and I couldn't believe my luck. He put it out for about 25 quid, and I just got it instantly, because I thought, you know, they do not come up. They just don't come up, especially for, you know, an Elite Edition. You got to think that the people that have those higher end hilts, they're real collectors who are going to keep everything together and keep everything in the best condition that they possibly can. So to see just the certificate of authenticity come up, I couldn't believe it. And I took full advantage of that. I will be keeping an eye out to see if a plaque comes up on eBay, you know, or any of the other bits like the display stand. I'm not too bothered at all about having, you know, the case that it comes in, or, you know, some people are really worried about the brown shippers and things like that, but that's no concern to me really at all. But I would like the plaque. That would be amazing. And in the meantime, I might have one custom made anyway from the Saber Armory, which again is UK based, which is where I'm from. But yeah, now overall, like I say, this is probably my favourite hilt in all of Star Wars, alongside the Mace Windu. I'm a prequel boy, so I love the prequel hilts. I do have a collection of hilts, and definitely some of them are from the original trilogy. I love them too, but these are the ones that I grew up watching and I had the toys of, and I used to battle with my brothers with the toys of these and the Anakin and the so on. So there's a lot of nostalgia to these, and a big emotional connection to these lightsabers, as well as Obi-Wan just being such an awesome character who's really well acted by Ewan McGregor. So big fan favorite for me. And so being able to have both of these for me is I'm so happy with. For the condition that they're in as well, all things considered, I'm really pleased as well. Neither is perfect for sure, but they are both really, really good. Oh, there's my cat that's just come into shot on the end of my bed. Yeah, so, but between the two, although the Elite Edition is far more expensive, especially if you're going to get it with all the trimmings, if you like, although it's so much more expensive, for me, it just looks so much better. The little details like the gold button, the red button, the white crystals in the windows in the top section, those kind of things. Yes, there's the holes as well. Aesthetically, the holes don't necessarily make a difference to me, but these things definitely do. It just takes the whole lightsaber and makes it look so much more premium. It just makes the whole thing pop more. The other differences, there are differences like we went through just now. How thin it is, the materials that it's made from. It's a shame about the rubber O-ring that I've said has begun to degrade. That is a shame, but like I say, for the price that I paid for it, I cannot be upset. There had to be things wrong with it for me to get it for the price I did, and sure enough there was, but I'd rather it was that than loads of scratches all over it and so on. So I was expecting the worst, and I was so chuffed when it arrived, and it was real minor stuff. Okay. But yeah, all in all, for the price that you can pick the Attack of the Clones up for, I still think that is a really good hilt. It's the first master replica that I owned in terms of the static hilts. Like I say, this isn't the original one that I did have, because the one I did have was far more damaged, lots more scratches and nicks and things like that. And I have since sold that for much cheaper than I bought it for as well. So my apologies about that. That's going to be broken up in the video because I received a call whilst I was recording. So I must remember next time I do this to go on fly mode. But yeah, so the last lightsaber, the last version of this I was just so keen to get a version of this lightsaber. And so it didn't bother me at the time that it had loads and loads of scratches on. If anything, it made me more happy handling it and swinging it around and, not worrying about whether I was going to put another scratch or anything into it. But yeah, I am really pleased to have picked one up that is in much better condition. And I've just noticed as well, whilst I was taking the phone call, is that there's a big difference in the length of these. So what I'm going to try and do is showcase that now. So what you can see there, now the top end is basically lined up perfectly from my angle, and the bottom of the hilt goes on for an extra probably another centimetre. So the Phantom Menace is longer. Now I'm trying to work out where that extra length comes from, and it looks to be this bottom piece here. Pretty much all of that extra length is in the bottom piece here and in the pommel. This section here is slightly longer than the same part on the Attack of the Clones version. And so is this. This is longer than that section. So that is where that extra length comes from. Now, it's not a huge amount different, but it does add to this one feels really nice in the hands. I do have quite big hands, so that extra little bit of space does make a bit of a difference in terms of how it feels in the hands. So that's another observation. But to round up, yeah, both incredible lightsabers. I'm really, really chuffed to have them both in my collection. And I'm just going to take my phone off the stand that I have, and we can just see things from slightly different angles. You can see the plaque there, fairly low number, 435 out of 2,500. And I believe on the Elite Edition there was 1,250 made, if I'm not mistaken. And you can see my moody looking cat in the background there, the reflection. But yeah, both really nice pieces. If you're lucky enough to pick up an Elite Edition, mine was just pure luck, because there's absolutely no way I'd be able to afford the Elite Edition normally. So I'm really chuffed about that. Amazed that it came all the way from Japan and ended up in the condition that it was in as well. So yeah, really, really happy. Stoked that I've got this certificate of authenticity too. Yeah, so really, really pleased, and they both look amazing in my collection. But yeah, feel free to pop any questions in the comments. I've literally never done a YouTube video before either, so any feedback would be great. And hopefully next video I'll be able to make it higher quality and make everything visually better, so that I can convey the beauty of these lightsabers a bit more effectively, because they are really, really incredible pieces, and I want to convey that as much as possible. But yeah, those are the differences between the two Obi-Wan Kenobi hilts from the Phantom Menace and Attack of the Clones. Cheers.